it's Cassie, and today I would like to show you guys how to decipher scales, major, natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. So there's a couple of basics that you need to know before figuring out. Up on my board I have a chart on how to figure out your sharps or your flats. I'll post a picture of this in the description. And we have a piano to make reference in order to figure out what we're going to be doing. We'll first start off with major scales because I believe that this is the best way of figuring out the rest of the scales. We follow this pattern: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. These are the steps that you take when you look on a note, on the note spectrum or whatever. So for those who don't know steps, here's how you figure that. As you see from this piano, we have our black keys and we have our white keys. These are all natural, and these black keys represent a half step. So if we were going from C to C sharp, that would be a half step, or D to D flat, that's a half step. But if we were going to go to D, that means we must go to C sharp to D, which, if you think of math, it's half plus half equals 1. So maybe that will help you understand that. I will be using D major scale in order to show you how this all works. And in order to not show any confusion, I'm not putting a key signature just so everyone can follow me along on this. I will just be marking the sharps as I go along. The best way to start out is to write the naturals all throughout. So we know that in order to make a scale, we have to go from D to D. So let me just write that down. Yes, I had to rewrite this, but you'll get the point. And yeah, it's not neat or anything. But now that we have our naturals, we're going to follow this pattern. So what you do is you're going to make a reference of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. The best way of not getting yourself confused is to write arrows and then specifying if it's a whole step or half step. Since E and F are half steps, since there's no black key in the middle, we are forced to go to F sharp. So we have our whole step there. So we can add our sharp right here. So we have whole, whole, now we need a half step. That's how we get to G. It's our half step. Then we have another whole step, which is our whole, then another whole, and then now we don't have a black key in between B and C, so we are forced to go to C sharp. Since we need 3 more whole steps, and then we can add that to our sharps, and then a half step, which gets a half. I wrote a sharp, please forgive me, and then you go back to D. And if you want to check yourself, D major does have 2 sharps in its scale, and it's F sharp and C sharp. Now we're going to use this scale to figure out our natural minor. And natural minor is what musicians normally think of when they're playing a minor scale. So we're going to use this to figure out a minor scale. The best way to do it is to flatten the 3rd note in the scale, the 6th note, and the 7th note. Since there are 8 notes in a scale, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. This does not mean they become flats, it means that you're just going down a half step. So, our 3rd note is F sharp, so that means it'll become natural. And then our 6th note is B, and since it's already B natural, we have no choice but to make it flat. And we have to naturalize our 7th note, so that will become natural. The best way to think of harmonic minor is just not flatten the 7th. So let me add back the sharps, because you should always make a reference to a major. Okay, now that I have the sharps back, we'll go through the same process again. Except this time we'll only flatten 3 and flatten 6, so only go down a half step for the 3rd note and the 6th note. So we will, since F sharp's our 3rd note, we'll naturalize that. And then our 6th note is a flat. So we have we have C sharp, but we also flatten B. So this is your major scale. Major scale harmonic, guys. Melodic minor is a little tricky. As I drew in this diagonal, this is the ascending, and I have written out D major scale, ascending and descending. So when we ascend, we're going to only flatten a 3rd. Everything else is just the same. But when we go down, descending, we follow the natural minor pattern, which is flatten 7, 6, and 3. So this is what I'll show you guys step by step. Let's just focus on the first half for a second. So since you only have to flatten a 3rd, all we have to do for this is naturalize F. And I'm going to add a natural mark just to make sure. Yes. So now we have F natural. C sharp remains the same. Now that we're descending, which means that the notes are going down, we have to naturalize a couple things and flatten a couple things. So we are having to worry about 7, 6, and 3. So we naturalize 7, we flatten 6, we naturalize 3. Those are the scales in a nutshell. I will post some rules and like a picture of them and stuff that you could print out in the description. I hope this helped, and I hope you all have a good day, and I hope this helped you all.